What up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Before we get into this, if you're new, like, share, subscribe. You all do the same thing. But today we didn't watch a movie. Today we decided to take a different turn. We decided to watch one of the episodes from 2019's Twilight Zone, which our guy Jordan Peele had a hand in producing and also writing some of the episodes. Today we are watching season 1, episode 3 replay. It's been out a number of years, so I guess there's no point for us to have a non-spoiler section. We're just gonna discuss the episode. If you don't want to be spoiled, please go ahead, look it up. Sanaa played Nina Harrison. Okay, the son is Dorian Harrison. The uncle's Neil, and the cop is
also known as Charles McCarter. If you know, you know.
The cop is Lasky.
Okay, so they have to figure out, they can't get past a certain point in history without figuring something out. In some movies, they'll do it as a dream, but they keep on waking up and it's the same day over again. But in this case, the mechanism that they used to go back in time was a camcorder. So Nina is taking her son Dorian to college. She's starting college, and it starts off with them in like a diner or something like that. They're eating, and there's this like real creepy state trooper sitting over there. You know, he's minding his business eating at first. In the diner, she notices that if she presses rewind, it goes back in time. And she first notices because her son spilled ketchup on himself, and she went back to, re-record it because they were having a conversation. And then she noticed that she had like sort of like flashback type of feeling. It was like it never happened. And so she noticed that it went back in time. She was still sort of uncomfortable with that, like disoriented, but she knows that it did take her back in time. They end up leaving the diner, driving to the college. There's another moment where she presses rewind again while her son is driving and notices the same thing happen. So she's still not understanding what's going on. This fucking cop stops them in the middle of the road. And for what? The kid was driving too fast?
Oh, yeah, he was speeding.
Talk to the cop, be respectful, whatever. She's trying to smooth it over, but the cop is obviously looking for an issue to have with them, and it escalates, and she presses rewind, and they end up back in the diner. So this is pretty much the entirety of the episode. Her trying to evade this cop, but no matter where they go, he's there. She tries to take the side road, and they go to a motel. He ends up knocking on the door to the motel. She tries to leave later than him. He's waiting outside.
Tries to leave before him. He comes in and notices him. Pull over on the side of the road, like, many of us do when something's going on. And she starts freaking out. Cop pulls over, got a problem with that. Like, no matter what they do, this cop is coming to stop them. And he is targeting her son. He's trying to make sure like, obviously, it's obviously a double entendre, as like, cops killing young black men, trying to keep them, going to college, things like that. The prison, the pipeline.
Yeah, it's a societal thing in a way, yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's a double entendre where the cop sort of represents, in my opinion, society. Like stopping this boy from being able to go to college and move forward in his life. And he says he wants to be like a director or something like that. Every time she has to rewind, every time they come across this cop, if you had to look at society, just one of them other roadblocks that you would see placed in front of kids that maybe don't come from the richest background. Looks like she's a single mom. She's raising him on her own, has worked hard so he can go to college. So she's done all the things that she needed to do so that he can get to college, but for whatever reason, they just can't get there. And as they were driving in the beginning, the son asks to get off on an exit, and apparently that's her brother. Her brother's stopped where they could see her brother, and she's like, no, this is before the whole cop started with shenanigans or whatever. At that point, she's at a loss. She's like, I don't know what to do. And at the last time that it happened, cop actually was able to shoot him.
Like, no matter what she does, like I said, the cop always targets her son. So either he's getting hurt, he's about to get tased, he's getting thrown around, he's getting shot, or about to be shot. Like, it's always ending with something horrible happening to her son, and she's trying to evade that.
The last time that it happened, she ended up in a morgue looking at her son, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. So she decides to take that exit to go to her brother's house.
They pulled over behind the shack, and she basically gives the whole rundown to her son, and her son basically is like, well, let's go the road, let's travel, let's try the place that we haven't gone, which her hometown.
So they end up going, and she has a conversation. They seem to have an estranged relationship. When he gets to the house, she says that that's where her brothers passed away, and then she also had an uncle that passed away not too far from there. So, it looks like she probably came from not the greatest beginnings, and she wanted to sort of get away from that. While they're visiting the brother, he also mentions how he's interviewing like the locals and things because it's being gentrified. So this, like, again, one of them double entendres where you're looking at the fact that dealing with like locals get pushed out of, places, right? We see it all over the place, areas being gentrified, and like the history sort of being lost or just shit on because the new people, they don't respect it. It looks like he's politically active, or at least, that's the way it looks in his home. He has the BLM stuff up. So they end up taking this underground passageway, which they were trying to mimic like the underground rail, that they had to go that way so that they can actually get there. And then throughout the episode, it was only them really on screen, right? Maybe some people in the diner, but it was mainly mom, son, the cop, the state trooper. And
He don't get crazy till they alone. When he's at the diner and there's a camera on him, he freaks out.
then they get to the college, you see all these, black folks. Because in the beginning, she says, "Oh, we're taking my son to college," and he goes, "The black one." These are college educated folks, right? It took you from, it was showing you like a new world, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because everywhere else they had gone, it was like just them. And then he gets to go and see all these other folks who are college educated, and they're, everybody's there and they're excited that they're there. And guess who fucking pulls up?
Literally at the last second, this man ain't even crossed the threshold of
Demon
college. Yeah.
pulls up, but he didn't pull up by himself this time. Before other cars of pops, and they all come out, turns on her camera, and they all puts up their cameras, their phones and stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, because that's why I pointed out that he had a revolver, because I felt like him having a revolver was like old, and then them having cell phones was new. I don't know, but they all put up their their phones. They're recording him. She has like a bit of a monologue telling him that she's not, that her son's gonna make it to college and he's gonna make it to school, and she's done what she needs to do to get him there. And she tells him like, cross the threshold. And it was like he had to cross over into the college, like the gate was the threshold in a way, and he crosses into the gate. They fast forward and he's older with a child. She's recording with the same video camera, presumably his daughter. She grabs the camera and breaks it.
She's recording him and he's like, "Mama, how long you gonna do this?" Now this had to be a number of years. He's gonna graduate at college. Had a kid. Yeah, she just recorded the same thing.
Daughter ends up grabbing the camcorder and dropping the damn thing on the floor, and she almost becomes frantic, and he's pretty much like, "It's fine, like, let it go," in a way. And then he decides to go get,
"I'm gonna go get some ice cream from this place that I don't need to go."
And then she looks petrified, and that's kind of how they end the episode.
Don't forget the police lights flashing on her face, which was like probably what she was thinking, not what was going on,
I mean, I liked it. I liked the episode. I love the Twilight Zone. I grew up watching it. My mom used to watch it all the time. But I like the episode. I like the parallel between just the kid trying to get to college and like the way society has things that hinder, just specifically certain races get hindered, but just also like economically speaking, poor kids, it's just harder for them to do anything, like they can't be involved in different activities, and so by the time their peers are damn near expert level, they're just getting into it because it's just too expensive. So it's like a number of things, but I think in this case specifically, as a black kid, and having this cop that's like specifically targeting him, and that could be, like you said, the school to prison pipeline, just the way that certain kids are targeted. What if young people have a lot of ego? You know what I mean? So even if he knows, talking to this cop, keep it cool, don't do too much. In every instance, you saw him trying to let his mother take over, but then once the cop did too much, then that's when he would sort of like jump in, and the last time he ultimately did get shot. So like that's why they target them. I mean, the acting was good, the direction was good. That fucking cop was so creepy. Look, Charles McCarter, he will never not be Charles McCarter. If you know, you know.
I was reading some of the reviews. Some people don't get it, whether they refuse to not get it, or maybe just haven't lived that experience. Somebody else gave it like a 9. It's like some people refuse to view things from other people's shoes, and even myself, as a black man, I haven't had a lot of very bad interactions with the cops. I've been maybe pulled over a handful of times, but then again, at the same time, I have had relatives that worked for the police, not as police officers, but in the facilities, and so I was kind of trained on how you talk to police. You don't get crazy. Yes, ma'am. No, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. You don't give no shit. That being said, but I have friends that have told me horror stories. And then, all you got to do is just Google something or look on YouTube, and you'll see like how and they decide that they want to go out there and just treat people like crazy. I've seen so many videos, and like sometimes when I get into talks with other people, sometimes race can be a fixture, but a lot of times it's like your income and how much money you make. Cause I see, cops that are in certain areas, they may still get crazy, but they don't get too crazy like they will with people that don't have money or don't know nothing. Or like I've seen them like significantly intimidate and treat people of a certain income, no matter what color they are, black, white, Latino. They still talk to you crazy in the rich neighborhood too, don't they? And then you still get your ass whipped, but it usually goes a little long before they knocking you the fuck out, you know what I'm saying? But that being said, I've seen cops beat up everybody. I've seen them beat up pregnant women, pregnant white women. I've seen them getting an old lady out of jail, and he shoved the old lady out of the door because she was questioning him too much. She broke her hip. As a black guy, sometimes I'm gonna be honest, I get scared, man. Like, see how that could be like a horror for some people when they go out, or some parents and stuff, and they turn that into like a Twilight Zone episode, and it was really good. The only problem I kind of had with it, and we discussed this, is like it got a little heavy-handed at the end with the symbolism and stuff. There was a little too much. I'm not saying there aren't black people with like Black Lives Matter stuff on their wall, but I ain't never met any. The whole Underground Railroad symbolism thing, you know, we gotta get our sons free, you know, and that whole, you know, speech before he went to cross the threshold of the college was a little wild. But like no matter what she did, her like son ended up dying, which you see a lot of movies that have like some kind of time travel aspect do that, you know. But it was kind of cool to see that. And or she, like you said, no matter if she changed the route, changed who was driving, went to a motel, this guy was fine. Even sat down and bought this, like had to try to share a human moment with this guy. You know, he showed you that he did not like these people because they were, you know, she was black.
It's one of those things that I've been online has kind of showed me, like, there's no humanizing yourself to people who don't see you as human. Like, appealing to the human nature, they don't see you. I mean, I've always known that, but I think being from here, like, we deal a lot more with classism. You know, not that there isn't any racism in New York, but there's a lot more like elitism and shit like that. Like, you deal with these rich assholes that don't want, to share space with the poor. It's not all the time, but
Those people that say it's heavy-handed, I definitely can see why they would say it, but at the same time, that is a real fear, and that's one of the things that I like about the Twilight Zone. It takes real stuff or things that people might even be scared of: space, monsters, the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this whole episode where this woman is in her house and she's like, there's like somebody outside, and he's like, and it's like a war. And she refuses to let people in, and when she lets the motherfucker in, kind of find it's death. Like stuff like that. People are afraid of death. People are afraid of war. Twilight Zone always touched on that, and of course, Jordan Peele comes in there. And he guarantee you, y'all, even Jordan Peele is rich and famous, and I guarantee he got them same fears just like the rest of us. Definitely a fear. You always got to keep it inside of your mind, but at the same time, y'all, my thing is I treat you like you treat me at the end of the day. I know it sucks if you feel like they violating your rights and shit, but the thing is to go home, get you a dash cam, that can save you a lot of time.
This was definitely an episode created from that sort of fear. And I think also the fear of like doing everything you can for your kid, and then like everything in society is made to stop them from being able to succeed. And like, no matter how many bootstraps you try and find
them bootstraps for me, yeah. The only parts I just didn't like the heavy-handed shit. I think there could have been a better way to implement that into it. I personally think could have been a better way to do it. But time and time again, seen tons of like time travel-esque movies or TV shows where no matter what this person does, this thing keeps killing that loved one or whatever like ends, and they have to try to rewind it and do it again. And so I like that. The MacGuffin in this story was the camcorder and stuff. And then at the very end, when he basically had this like invincible insurance plan to make sure that her son, nothing would ever happen to him. Yeah. Then she gives it to the child. Like I wouldn't give a child that age my phone. I'm not giving you something that has the key to the damn universe to give it to a small child. You crazy? All jokes aside, you see after that's broken, she don't have that fear like sinks in like yeah, which is the true horror of things you can't control. Which most of us live like that. Like there's nothing you can do, and then if something happens, there's no rewind button that we can press. So it was good. I mean, if I had to grade it, I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I'll say 7.5.
I don't know if you guys seen this before. Have you checked it out? Please do. If you just give it a chance before, as they say, everybody backs the blue till it happens to you. If you don't like it, that's cool. We can discuss it in the chat.
Are there any other Twilight Zones that you like, that you would like us to let us know?
Do it now. And we love you guys. Just if you made this far, like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to see you on the next one, all right?